Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Good to see you.
I kind of thought back on the last couple months and, making the decision to do this, first of all, and also being inspired by you, being inspired by Amanda, being inspired by Leah, like seeing those real people. It's great to have a buddy. Like Amanda and I would be like, dude, you're going to do the class today? Yes, I'll see you in the class today. So we do that. She posted her squats thing on social media, which I was like, yeah, go girl. Makes it less daunting to be like, oh, well, I didn't get to the gym or I can't get at a gym. It's like you do it on the kitchen floor and you do it in between your meetings or scheduling it in your time. Like that was a big thing for me of like, I'm very schedule oriented. I have my entire work schedule. I would stick it in my work schedule.
I feel like when you realize that fitness doesn't have to be so ceremonious, on one level of it, you're talking about just empowering yourself with the mindset of, I can literally do fitness wherever. I don't have to be bound by anything.
That was an important thing that helps with the success of it is even though you're virtual, two things I wanted to say is one, when I would go through these, I kind of knew you were there. And even though you weren't there in person, I know you're like looking at my stuff because you like, I want to track you, make sure, and I put it on my watch. I start my tracking. If I do a pre-recorded session, I know you're there. And so that was really helpful and also motivating. I know someone's holding me accountable too. Yeah. And then the other huge piece, and I think I've talked to you about this before, was taking the stress away from the planning and all of the what I'm going to do today. It made it really easy to be like, today I'm doing legs or something like that. That was the really good part for me is being able to let that go and being like, I trust this system that's happening.
There was a certain type of relationship you had with carbs, something that you told me right away, like, I'm going to be transparent. This is what's going on. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, it started when I did the Atkins diet 15 years ago, when that was like a big thing. That just got into my head. And since then, I've always had this fear of going off of that because if I eat one carb, I'm going to gain like 10 pounds or whatever. So it was like kind of mental change that I had to make. And that was also part of trusting the system of, I got you. I'm going to get you through it. It's going to be okay.
You're like, Mike, I got a wedding coming. Like,
I know. I was like, really? Am I going to actually eat rice? And I remember the first time I was like, It helped to keep track of that, to see it myself. And then you just see it work really quickly. And that's one of the things I love now is I don't have to be afraid of that anymore. And we go out quite a bit to restaurants. So I just use that same formula at a restaurant. You just kind of get used to it. I probably have eaten more French fries in the last, couple months than I have in my life, just because it was okay to do that.
Yeah. And still see the results and still have energy and still feel strong.
And it's all okay. It makes it all okay. It's very empowering to feel like you have a different control.
That is so beautiful. Wasn't it the photographer at your wedding who like gave you a compliment?
Yeah. He's like, damn, look at those guns. I was like,
you're like,
feeling more controlled about it and trusting in what you're doing. And the things that I was doing before, like I worked out pretty much all my life. As a kid, I was into sports. All through college, I was always in sports. I was always working out. So I'm one of those people that have always done it and always thought that I knew what I needed to do to get to where my goal is. I used to always be able to get to my goal by not eating.
Yeah.
This kind of took away that cloud sort of thing it just like enables you to have a normal relationship with working out and food so that it's just part of your everyday instead of, oh, it's okay, I need to lose 10 pounds before that vacation. I'll only eat dinner for the next week or whatever. It was something stupid like that. You always reach for these unhealthy coping ways.
Or tools.
And this takes away that sort of scariness of, oh, I have to do that to get there. And I have to do this unhealthy thing to get there.
What's so crazy is what you just explained right now is what I'm working with a lot of women, especially a lot of high achieving, very mentally strong, a lot of women that come from athletics and athletic backgrounds. The reason why they succumb to that vicious cycle a little bit quicker, a little bit more frequently than others, because they do have the background in athletics. they do have the self-discipline. They do have the high-achieving framework. So what happens is they try this technique, this tool, and on the outside, it works.
Yeah.
So now that's programmed into their brain. All right, I know I can do that. And they have the self-control and the discipline and the framework to do that. It's a cycle that's a vicious cycle. In the background, it's hurting your physical health. It's hurting your mental health as well.
It's exhausting. It's exhausting.
And it's mentally and physically exhausting because you're literally depriving yourself of the energy that you need. Yeah. And then you're literally depriving your mind of the balance of looking at those elements as fun things that I enjoy and that should be like free to use whenever I want, to almost like being a slave to those things.
Yeah. Also makes it more apparent when you don't achieve the goal. Like those coping skills didn't work for me anymore now that I'm almost 50. And that makes you feel worse, that you have to do it more. And you're like, well, I just have to be better. I have to starve myself more, or whatever that coping mechanism is. And that makes you feel like mentally worse. Like I'm not good enough.
Yeah.
I can't even do that good enough. It's just this terrible like cycle.
Like one of the things I love is when you use the word empower and you use the word strong. Those words are literally the main thing that I'm looking for in this whole thing that's called total body transformation. One of the things that I hate that I have to do, but I have to do it just because of the industry that I'm in, is I have to bait and then switch clients. Marketing for the program looks like a woman who has the tape measure, and I have to talk about body fat loss, and I have to talk about like those things, because usually the people that I need to reach, that's where their mind is.
100%. That's where I was. Yeah.
So once I get them hooked, and I'm like, guess what? That's not our goal.
Like, wait, I mean, that was the first thing I said to you when that was one of my goals, is like, I want to be thinner.
Yeah. And I'm like, no. And you're like, wait,
you're what? Like, sure.
And you're like, wait, I don't want to get like Mike. I don't want to get like
I don't want to be bulky.
That's what I said. Trust me, I'm not gonna get you there. And I don't know if you remember, but one of the first things I said is, we're going to make a short-term goal, and then we're going to make a longer-term goal. I don't want the goal to be anything about a weight number. I want you to give me a feeling, say like, all right, I can consistently stay on this for this amount of time. And that's what we did. And it's cool to look back. Like one of the things I was doing is compiling like all the badges that I don't know if you've taken a look. You have mad accolades and badges.
Oh, really?
From staying consistent and from grinding it out. And it's so hard to break those habits once they have been established. That's something that you've done for a while now. And when you've seen the benefit to them and you really internalize that, and you fall in love with feeling good, and you fall in love with being strong, and you fall in love with like how you feel. And sometimes it's also like how you look. Yes, we're humans and we see ourselves and we like to look at
how your clothes fit or whatever.
But it's like the feeling, it's more than that. It's feeling like I've accomplished this, I've worked for this, I've earned this, and I feel strong while looking like this. And that's hard to beat.
That's something that impermeates your entire life, because even if other things go on, like there have been many times where work is going bad and that sucks, but this is mine. That has nothing to do with anything else. And I have that. That's something that no one else can influence or take away. And that's the like empowering thing. Even though your work stuff is going crap, it's like, I'm still powerful.
You just gave me goosebumps. I'm like, that is awesome. That right there is so powerful for your mental.
Yeah.
That's
what keeps me going. That's what keeps me going to like, okay, I got to do my thing, That's like positive cycle to the max, because the same thing that you just described is the same environment or is the same setting that throws someone back on a vicious cycle where it's like, I'm going to go home, I'm going to sulk, feel sorry for myself, and I'm just going to drink, and I'm going to do this. And you both went through the same beginning of the day, but then you're totally ending the day on two completely different notes. There's such a big difference between living in balance
and in peace and harmony and living in the balance of tug of war. Tug of war, there's literally a war going on with this is pulling and this is pulling.
Yes.
And even though it looks like the middle of the rope is like somewhere around the middle,
internally you're like struggling all the time.
All the time.
Yeah.
Whereas living in harmony means you get to choose when you go here and when you go here. You get to choose either one. One of my clients saw me eating an ice cream and they're like, "Coach, do you eat ice cream?" But I'm like, "Yeah, I eat ice cream. I drink beer." And they're like, "But how do you?" And I'm like, "It's balance. It's balance." I know that I train and I run, and I'm not doing that so I can eat ice cream, but I'm doing that because I know it's good for me. And I'm eating ice cream because I know that's also good for me.
Yeah.
Ice cream is good for you. Yeah, it's good for my mental.
Yeah.
There's whole foods that I eat that I know that are really good for my body. And then there's soul foods that I eat that are really good for my mind. Yeah. Living in that is, like you said, I like the word you used, empowering. It makes you feel free.
Yeah, totally. Like for me, the French fries thing, it's like, well, I don't ever order that. And now it's just like, yeah, I'm going to have those. It's cool because it's just a totally different mindset to have.
If you were talking to the next person who was talking to me, or let's say they were thinking about doing this program, what would you tell them?
I would say that it's one of those things that you don't believe or know until you do it. And sometimes that's the thing that you need to get it into your core, into your soul, that trust that it works. It doesn't matter how many people tell you to do it, or you know what I mean? You will only believe it when you see it for yourself. And then you know how differently that feels. You can see all these people like, oh, that's so great. Look what they did. I'd like that. But until you do it is when it gets in you.
That's beautiful. Thank you.